I was recently at a party where I was talking with a woman who said that she was the head of cybersecurity for a large government agency. Needless to say, I was quite interested in how she got her job and what she did. She told me that she had started about 15 or 16 years ago when the agency apparently knew very little or absolutely nothing about cybersecurity. She had come to the job knowing nothing herself. She had studied English literature in college. Hemingway, I believe, was her favorite author, an author who might, arguably, provide some useful ideas for cybersecurity, but really offers nothing practical in the way of training. She had learned the technical ideas herself, studied the material that she found. She had written the procedures for her office, hired the staff, trained them, and also developed the criteria that she used for success. All of this, she said, she did entirely on her own. As she led me through a series of wonderfully fascinating stories about problems that she had solved and intruders that they had trapped, she always looked over my shoulder to see where her young son was. This was an adult party in an apartment that was not child-proof. There were sharp edges everywhere, breakable objects anywhere that you looked. As her son ran through the party, he was a young man filled with energy and enjoying some newfound friends. He got close to trouble once or twice, but each time a pair of guiding hands, a concerned adult, would carefully direct him away. I don't think he saw the hands that pulled him back from the sharp edge of a table, or directed him back from a shelf that was filled with expensive works of art. He may have known that someone helped him off a hassock when he would rather jump off, but he really paid no mind. He was having fun and grateful for where he was. In much of the same way, his mother didn't think about the kind of hands that had guided her career. She had done a lot of work in her agency, and her accomplishments were real and to be supported and praised. At the same time, she worked within a framework that wasn't always entirely visible. The federal government has been interested in cybersecurity since the 1980s. In 1987, Congress passed the Secure Computer Act, which established the first framework for such things. In subsequent years, the National Institute of Standards and other government bodies have developed standards for government use. In 1999, shortly after her career began, it was involved in creating the Common Criteria Standard, a standard that became the International Standards Organization and is a fundamental tool in cybersecurity. More recently, the federal government has set forth two standards, Federal Information Processing Standards number 199 and 200. The first of these standards is one that gives common criteria, common language, common terms for describing cyber threats. The second one of these, promulgated in 2006, describes minimum standards for secure systems in government agencies. These are guiding hands. These are things that help shape each agency put together a secure framework, a secure set of ideas and strategies for what they do, for how they protect their systems, for how they keep the work of government going despite attacks. The woman ultimately broke off her stories, having seen her son running around the room, and decided it was time for the two of them to go. In the process, she never asked who I was or why I was so interested in cybersecurity. I assumed she thought I was just a friendly person who wanted to know more. Yet, I laid down a series of careful questions that guided her through her career, and probed her technical knowledge and what she understood. I provided, if you will, the guiding hands for our conversation. We, as members of the Computer Society, are often involved in creating documents and standards and procedures that are the guiding hands for all forms of cybersecurity. Certainly they're known and seen by people who are professionals in the field. But we sometimes have to ask, is it worthwhile to teach the general public, to have them understand that they are on the front lines of security and that they need to take care for themselves, be aware of threats against them, and take steps to protect their data, their work, their systems? It's much like we tell kids to be aware of their surroundings, to look out, to pay attention, and to act with good judgment. It's a tough problem. Adult computer users are not children. They can't always be expected to know the technical knowledge that we know that they would need to protect their systems, to protect their work, to protect their data. At the same time, we indeed are all on the front line. And as we grow as a cyber society, as we grow with people whose very work and daily activity depends upon these pieces of infrastructure, we all need to know where we are in the front lines, what steps we need to take, and how we need to pay attention to the guiding hands that are directing us. This is David Allen Greer for the Errant hashtag. Thanks for listening.